a real quick breakdown on how first, middle, and last names work. Some people go by their middle name for their first name because they don't like their first name, so they sort of bypass the first name and it becomes sort of like their middle name. Just like some people have a first name and don't tell people their middle name. It happens all the time, just different ways, and it's personal preference, and that changes things when you become a person who goes off of sound vibration. What does every other word mean in your life when you hear it? So what does your pattern sound like and mean when you write it and hear it? You don't know until other people have explained things to you, and letters go in their shape and in their patterns and in their numbers. They're in form and they're in formation, and they get distorted. Like if you put a whole bunch of type all over your computer, it would just mess up all the information and it wouldn't make sense. Well, you're writing that inside yourself, just in a spiritual form of letters and light. And we're trying to represent them with two-dimensional letters, and it's hard to do, and numbers, but they spin, and they're different than just the curve that you see on a piece of paper or the one you see on your screen. It's different than just the voice patterns you see when people talk and record it. It's different than the light that reflects on your TV screens or your cool phones that have 3D and 5D and 7D now. It doesn't matter. It's way bigger than that. Like my dad, Edward, the war is in his past. Claire, like he's not necessarily clear. It's I would be in the center. A is still there, and he identifies still with the outside world. He's definitely unclear. He's Claire. And that's okay, because clairvoyant can mean that you're good, but he doesn't have his mindset. He had the war behind him, and it's still here, so he's not Claire. And you'll understand what I mean. And then Alexander he's part of that too, so it's always there. You always live out your life. So he's got Edward, and he goes more by that. So he's still there. His head is Ward, and it is. He really is, and he works very hard. Work hard. That's what it means. And he lives that life. He really does. And my brother, Brian, he doesn't really mind his middle name, I'm sure, because Keith is a kinetic activity or kinetic energy identified, plus here. Like, what's here? War. And what is the center of his life now? War. Because he was a veteran. It's the center of his life. And it's not just a coincidence. We live it out. Now, Chuck, Ground Chuck, and Edward in the center of him, instead of being somebody who's supposed to help nature thrive through mankind, like what would you think nature would do if nature itself was beauty between all beings? It would want all beings to be peaceful and not kill each other. And since human beings have that capability over animals, they hoped that humans would do that. So Chuck is here to do that. He's here to be on the side of animals, and he wanted to be a conservationist and all that kind of stuff because he loved animals. But then he still doesn't see a problem with shooting some of them because they're not as equally living. So instead of being a person who is on the side of nature, he saw the beauty in nature, went out and enjoyed it, and didn't know what else to do with it besides why not hunt some of the animals, because why not? And they're good for you because people told us they were. And that's just putting people's minds at ease with being against nature. And people don't think that way because they've been distorted since the time they were little. And once they get to be an adult, they don't want to hear that, even from their loved ones, even from someone who's like, I know, man, I've been deer and you've shot me. I've watched myself running from someone who looked like you billions of times in different forms. And it's crazy. And I ask you to please take me seriously and think about how fair it would be if you lived as a deer. Because if you can get over it now, you don't have to do it and experience it. And what's funny is you'll go through that life, and only while you're there will you know you're experiencing it. So Chuck Alexander won't, but you already have, and you're already doing it. And part of you will want to feel that again because you lost it this time. That's why we go back through life over and over and over and over and over and over and over. I didn't lose any of that. None of my heart is gone. I would never harm anything out there because Mother Nature does not want us to harm ourselves, all of it. Mother Nature does not want us to do that. She wants to cooperate with it. Nature doesn't grow deer so you can shoot them. People breed them and put them out. That's not nature's fault. That's human nature. So therefore humans should not be manipulating nature in order to commercialize it. So instead of him being on the side of nature to help nature thrive, he became a person who sold guns to hunt because he enjoyed nature as a child and got distorted in his mind thinking that it's okay to be against nature. But he doesn't call it that. He doesn't think that because he sees it as fair, and we have gun laws and gun rights and gun stuff, and we fought for that. We fought for that because when we were young at spiritual mind, we had to defend ourselves because we were scared of each other. Let's stop being scared of each other. Isn't that not so hard to think about? I'm not scared of anybody. Come and kill me. I'm sure it'll hurt, but if not, if it's fast, that's cool. If not, will it prove something? Probably not, because everybody's a bunch of behemoths, and we're all a bunch of like, whatever. Oh, it's so sad. Nah, I'm gonna watch some TV. That's how we are, because we haven't spiritually learned. And Michael Earl, he's physical. Michael, like the angel name. Mike Heal, Hale, Mike Hale, he's like a healer, okay? And Early, like the center of you, what makes you up. And he's a phys ed teacher. He is, and he's always been about that. But he's made mistakes, and he's eaten the wrong kinds of foods, and he's over hormoned, and he's more about trying to make his family work. But I want to make my family work. I'm not worried about dating anybody because life isn't about committing yourself to one person. That's the issue with most people. So he doesn't really have many issues. Everybody's doing that same thing. So I love my brothers, and I don't mean anything bad about them at all. And then like my mother, with such a feminine name, Kathy with a K, and Therese, it's like Theresa. That's like there is a, like there is a, but Therese, like the unseen there is a, you know what I mean? And it's kinetic. It's a kinetic word. It's freaking cool. And my mom lives that life. She's always cleaned up after the dirt that people left, but then she felt right when she went into X-ray, inner kinetics, X-ray, inner, and she knits. Does this not ring some kind of weird, crazy spiritual bell inside of everybody? If they just hear what I'm saying about my family, I could show you what it all means in your family. I could show you what it all means, and to the point where if you listened long enough, all you'd have to do is put on a record or a tape when you went to sleep, and you could live Christopher Columbus's real life. At least in this time space, you could live it. And you could see how bad he was and how great he was. And nobody was horrible. Everybody was great to somebody, and everybody was horrible to somebody. Have you not been horrible to somebody? Or is it just because someone has been more horrible to a bigger amount of people that they're worse? Not really. Because if you have never seen the beauty in life, you've been just as equally negative to something. Maybe not people, but something. Bugs, animals, lesser beings, what you felt were lesser beings. We've all done that. So God isn't mad at you for not liking people. People don't like people. He's not mad at you at all. It's not mad at you. She's not mad at you. We're not mad at you. What's mad at you or what's upset with you is the true divine you that doesn't understand how you could look at something else that is living in the world around you or part of the world around you, deface it, kill it, murder it, maim it, or defile it, manipulate it for your own gain without consent of something else. Like there's nothing that is okay with that, even in a moral thought, without what other people have said and wrote down in rules and laws. There's nothing moral about it. Once you become a human or just a conscious being that doesn't care that they fought wars to get where we are. Now we're where we are, and we can stop fighting wars and live in peace. That's what they fought and died for, not so you could keep doing it. I know I did it, and I know why I did it. And now I'm doing it in the most peaceful way I can, and I'm not afraid to die for it. Doesn't mean I'm going to kill for it. I wouldn't. I can't. God won't let me, because God's in me. Just like it's in you, you just don't know it. You've never felt it, and you can't get away from it once you are it. You can't. It's you. Woo! It's great. It's beautiful, but it's heartbreaking as a personal thing. It makes you cry. It makes you cry all the time because nobody cares unless you act like a pretty good, dead-on, replica of what they thought your character was supposed to be. Oh, that's Dan that I know. Cool. Thanks for being Dan today. No. If you want to know what Dan really means, look up the words and see what the meanings of my name mean. That's who I am. So, until next time, peace.